Okay, so everyone keeps asking me why I look to the side on these videos. I don't know. I don't know why it is, and I think it's because the little red light that shows that it's recording is to one side. So I guess I'm focusing on those without really realising, but I'm going to try really hard not to do that. See, my eyes, they already want to go that way. But anyway, I just thought I'd share actually a very funny time that I've just had. I went to a conference in Paris where I was speaking, and it was a very, very useful day. There was lots to be learned from it, and some of which I've sort of touched on the blog really. But one of my learnings from it was there are an awful lot of media, social media gurus who are really nothing of the sort. They think they know, but they only know how to get numbers. They don't know how to engage with people, and it's a worry that these people are like key influencers for brands who are trying to do a really good job. But you know, I don't think at this stage there is any such thing as a social media guru. It changes too fast. It's just such a strange world to live in. I don't see how anyone's an expert. I think everyone should be not consider themselves an expert, but consider themselves on a constant learning journey. Anyway, the funny thing that happened, many strange things happened on that day. It was just one of those days that you know you won't ever repeat again in your life. But one of which was that it was a catalyst for a series of events that then happened afterwards. But for some reason, our taxi driver just had a meltdown and said that while we were trying to go back to catch our Eurostar, said that we kept him waiting too long and he wasn't going to take us anymore. And he didn't leave, he just stayed there and just refused point blank to take us. So as a result of that, we had to call get the hotel to call a taxi for us. We didn't actually have any money because we only had credit cards, and the taxi that was called didn't have a credit card system, so we had to do a sort of emergency dash to the cash point. But anyway, it resulted in us missing our train, and we had to catch the next one. So while we were waiting in the Eurostar lounge, we bumped into Sharon Dowser, who's a really well-known makeup artist and somebody that myself and my colleague know quite well anyway. So it was really lovely to chat to her, and it turned out the train was pretty much full of camera crew and makeup artists who'd been working on a big campaign. But as I was sort of sitting down after a very long, there was a 5 a.m. start, very, very long day. We weren't in our original seats, so we were sitting in a 4, and there was a man opposite me and a lady opposite my colleague. And I was flicking through a magazine, something I very rarely do, but I came across a feature on Botox, and I happened to say that I thought it was a very poorly written article because it was just the same old renter quotes from, I'll call them Dr. X and Dr. Y, and that I was fed up of people not researching to get sort of maybe younger, newer, more current leaders in the field of non-surgical cosmetic surgery. So I said it's just so disappointing that these same old renter quotes come out time after time, and you know, they've been doing the same old thing for years. They're old and they're tired. Anyway, at that point, the man sitting opposite me leaned forward and said, "Actually, I'm Dr. X." And he was. And so it was just a hugely awkward moment. And quite naturally, he was a little bit cross and defensive at hearing himself described as old and tired. And so I can't remember quite what he said to me, but I said to him, because what I thought I'd heard was that he used to work in IT. And So I said, well, that's rich coming from someone who's who used to work in IT. And he said, I've never worked in IT, but I did used to work in ENT. So it just went from bad to worse, because obviously ENT is ear, nose and throat, and he is actually a surgeon, and I've just accused him of not even being a real cosmetic doctor. And of course on Eurostar there's just nowhere to go, there's nowhere to run. So we had to stay sitting there, and it was just probably the most awkward journey. But just to add to this, in the background there was the couple across the aisle were having the most almighty row, and it's the row we've all had with our partners, you know, the you don't love me, you never consider my feelings, how do you think I feel about this, how do you think I feel about that, then Roger, who was the guy's name. And Roger was about pretty much a broken man, really. He was just sitting there staring at the table and not really offering up anything much up in the way of defence. And I suspect it's because he's been there before many times and realises the only way for this to be over is to let it just burn itself out. There's no point in arguing, it's just fuel for the fire. So they carried this on from Gare du Nord all the way to Ebbsfleet, which is the stop before St Pancras. And so as I got off, and it was actually very intrusive, and you know, I know everything now, we all know everything about this couple's private lives. And so I said, our seats were right next to the door, so I said, as I got off, I just said, oh, good luck, Roger, and making to dive off, but then I couldn't get the door open. And I was really scared she was actually going to come after me. She was a very, very feisty lady. So I'm wrestling with the door, just desperately trying to get off the train. And somebody had to come and do it for me in the nick of time, but it was all rather awkward. So day in social, talking about social media, turned out to be a day in, I don't know, finding out about human behaviour in many ways. Anyway, that's it. Bye.